Hi YouTubers, this is me, and I'm doing this week's reading, and it's going to be a 6-card reading that I got from The Enchanted Map by Colette Baron Reed, and yes, it's backwards, I know that. So the 6-card reading is the past influence, the present point of vantage, what you resist, and expected help, and the next right action, as well as the probable future destination, represented by cards in her oracle deck. Okay, let's begin. So, the first card is the past. Basically, the past is stuck in the mud, and it's pretty self-explanatory. What this means is that you were just kind of stuck in the mud, stuck in a situation that you couldn't really get out of without outside influence. The mud isn't going to soften without some rain, or it's not going to harden and make you really, really stuck without there being a lot of sun. So an outside influence has to come and get you out. You're kind of stuck where you are in your way of thinking in the past, and it kind of makes sense with all the cards we were getting in the past readings. That kind of pointed towards that you're kind of stuck in the mud, stuck there, stuck where you're at, and it's not necessarily a bad thing to be stuck where you're at, because if the universe says you're stuck where you're at, there's something you need to learn. If the universe keeps throwing things the same way at you, you need to take a look around you and say, okay, what do I need to learn here? Because I'm going to be stuck here until I learn it, so I might as well learn it. So take a look around you and enjoy where you're at right now, because in the past, or at least that's what you were doing in the past. Is you better have enjoyed what you're doing in the past, because you're going to be there a while. That's what that whole thing was all about. But okay. The next card, the present vantage, is the Metamorphosis card, and it was reversed. And it's basically saying you're going through a time of metamorphosis. There's a lot of changes going on, and you may not see the light at the end of the tunnel because there's a lot of chaos going on. It's a really dark time right now. But the light on the tunnel is there, and you can't see it right now, but you need to know that it is there. You need to be reminded that the light is there. The caterpillar, when he was inside of his cocoon, needed to be reminded that this wasn't the end of the world. Change was happening, and he was going to become a butterfly. Just when he thought the world was ending, he suddenly became a butterfly. It's just... it's darkest just before the dawn. The light is darkest just before the dawn is another quote that comes to mind for this. That kind of points towards what this card is trying to get at. Is that it may seem really dark right now, but the light is coming. Okay. And what you're resisting is encouragement reversed. It's not necessarily you are being encouraged and you're resisting being encouraged. It's you resisting being the encouragement for other people who are also in this situation. It's all about you taking a look around and seeing what's around you. You supposedly learned to do this in the past. When you were stuck in the mud, you need to learn it again in a different kind of way. You need to take a look around and say, okay, take my blinders off. There are other people that are in the same situation. They need to be encouraged just as much as I need to be encouraged. So here's my chance to be that encouragement. I need to stop resisting being the encouragement or the encourager. And because that's what you're resisting right now, is being the encourager. Okay? And the unexpected help is the protecting treasure card. And what that generally means is that at the center of our soul, there's our soul, or there's our core self. And what's added on top of it through circumstances that we go through is basically the tarnish on top of a piece of silver jewelry. And what you're going through right now, this metamorphosis, this change, right, is taking away that tarnish. That's all it's doing. And what's going to be revealed at the end is your core self. And nothing about your core self is going to be damaged or irreparable or irreplaceable. Nothing about your core self is going to be damaged in any way, shape, or form. And you need to remember that while you're going through this, because there can be a lot of fear there, saying, what if I come out of this completely and utterly different and I don't recognize myself? You'll be able to recognize yourself, because yourself doesn't necessarily change at its very core. There are always some pieces of yourself that are always going to be there. Being true to yourself during this time is to yourself, to thine own self be true. That whole thing is, yourself doesn't really change. You have a core that is never going to change, and that's always going to be safe. All you're doing is removing the tarnish that is been put on there from the life experiences. That's all that's going on, is you're getting cleaned up. You're not being destroyed, you're not being remade, you're not being taken apart and being put back together in a different way. It's just the tarnish is being removed, and that's the main thing that's going on. And the fear that you're going to be completely different at the end of this, and that you don't really want to change, is based on the belief that this tarnish is part of your core self. The tarnish that's coming onto yourself, the beliefs that are brought on by these life experiences, sometimes they are part of your core self, but sometimes they aren't. And this is just a time where you're differentiating, telling the difference between these two things is somewhat difficult sometimes, and it's at this time that you're taking the time to look at the different pieces and say, does this match up to my true self? And the things that don't match up are going to be tossed to the wayside, and they will be missed in a kind of semi-way, but in the end, they're not part of your true self, and they're not part of your core, so they don't really belong. And the things that are truly you and that are truly part of your core self, they're protected, they're in a kind of nest egg, they can't be touched. And they won't be destroyed, they won't be taken apart, they won't be lost. And that's kind of what your biggest fear at this point, that part of your true self will be lost in this time of change and chaos. And really, those things that you truly do need and truly are part of yourself are protected and kept safe. Okay? And then the next one is, the next right action is the One Ring Circus. Mostly this card, I've always gotten it in reverse. When it's telling you get the hell out of the One Ring Circus, you're not that interesting, really. This is telling you that you are that interesting, and that you are a competent and self-important person, and that you do have you should be independent. And you shouldn't be in relationships where you lose yourself in. You need to be careful of who you pick to be your friend or your lover or your wife, your husband. Those kind of relationships, you need to be careful of enmeshing relationships where you lose yourself in those relationships. Because that's not the relationship you really need right now. And it's not really what anybody really needs, but you especially can't get mixed up in there and lose yourself. Because you've gone through the process to take out the tarnish on your true self, and you've discovered yourself. Don't then get enmeshed in another person's difficulty finding their own true selves. You found your true self. You're an independent person. You're a self-aware person. You know what's going on, and you have a right to be by yourself, an important person. And you could be in a relationship with another person, but they need to be another whole person in order for that relationship to make any sense. So find a person that is whole in their own way, and you can be whole in your own way, and you can be in a relationship with with each other in your whole selves. That's kind of what this is telling you. You've cleaned everything off, and you found your true self. Don't tarnish it again. Don't bring more tarnish onto your silver, because you're pretty shiny on your own. Don't let someone else tarnish you. That sort of thing. Okay. And the next one is your probable destination is rescue, which is kind of like expansion. The lady gets rescued from the tower. She was always living in this one room apartment or something. You finally found the way out of that place. Things have aligned, and you've gotten out, and you're now getting ready for expansion. Get ready for that, and that's where you're heading right now, as you're expanding into a great big new world. Kind of. That's pretty much what the message of this card is. Get ready for that, because that's where you're headed. So you're getting a lot of work done this week. You're doing a lot of internal cleaning done, internal encouragement. A lot of inside stuff is getting done this week. And the end of the week is going to be about expansion and moving out into the larger world. Maybe even opening yourself up to other people rather than doing all this internal work and just keeping it to yourself. Okay? Alright, we'll see you next week, and I hope I feel better and I can give you a more coherent reading. Talk to you guys later, and have a good week.